Right now I think he's just clearing out the ditch. There's a drainage area. The stream comes down and goes around behind this, and it's gotten clogged in through this area, and he's cleaning out the drainage area. We didn't want to remove this pad, so we're just diverting around it.
It looks as though the volunteer group of trail workers is a fairly large one. This is a 3-person crew. How many hours do you put in?
Oh, it varies. Roger here, who's local from McDonald's, he's out here every day that there is work to go on. I can make it a day or two a week. I'm still helping my kids do things, and you know, when you're married, you've got to keep the wife happy. So it really varies, but generally there will be 3 to 4 people here.
It's wonderful.
On a given day. And Roger's always here. Tim Thomasy is now getting much more actively involved. Do you know Tim?
Yeah, I do.
He's out here pretty regularly. He was out here until a little bit earlier. He had to leave.
Are the repairs pretty well done? That
we had a lot of damage in this area, this McDonald area, this last summer because of the bad rains. That is pretty well finished. We've been working real hard to get a new surface down. We've done a lot of trimming. There were some ditches up toward Quicksilver that overflowed and flooded the trail. We've cleaned them out and moved tons of dirt from there down to a section below on the trail. We've piled it up in a bit of a wall to define the edge of the trail property there. We put those stone barriers in up here to help with drainage. We're pretty close to finished now on this section of trail. We still have work to do on the connector between our trail and the Panhandle Trail. That got badly damaged in the summer rains as well. We've done what we could so far, but we need to get back in there and to clean that surface up a little bit. And there's always work to do. There's always ongoing repairs and maintenance and upgrading and trimming of brush and trees, and we've been trying to get caught up on that as well. We've gotten some new volunteers now here in the McDonald area this last year. Tim Thomasy, as I said, came over to us from the Panhandle Trail. Chuck Huey is now actively involved with the trail. He's worked really hard this summer. So we're making progress, but it's an endless job and it takes a lot of hours.
Well, yeah, and it takes a lot of expertise. All of you fellows seem to be pretty good at something.
We all try to do something. Frank, this is Frank's own equipment here that he rents to the trail. And John there is an equipment driver. Roger and I do what we can. We've all learned to drive the tractors and run the mowers. Some of us have done some work with the heavier equipment. So we're trying to put different sections of the trail into a kind of a rolling schedule, and this year we're focusing a lot of time and energy and money on this section. Then in future years, I know the board, I'm not on the board anymore, but I know the board has plans to work with other sections of the trail and do upgrades on those sections. And there are still long sections that need to be completed. Next year we're going to, I think next year, work will begin on the library trestle, or at least the engineering studies will be done. There's another bridge to go over Valley Brook Road in Peters Township. That should begin next year. Several years down the road, there's still the bridge over 980 and 50 in Venice. That will be done after PennDOT realigns that intersection. Still a lot to be done.
Yeah.
On a trail that when they first started this, they looked at what they had acquired and thought, well, maybe in 3 years we can have this pretty well finished. And that was in the late 80s.
Well, you've done pretty well. I remember probably 10 years ago, I rode down south of Muse, and there was a place that it was either called Ford's Road Stop or something like that, or Shankle, I forget. I was amused by it because some people had asked me, hey, do you own a business down there? And I didn't know what they were talking about until I saw that building. Well, it's been renovated and probably owned by somebody different now. And they have an ice cream store there and other foods.
It's called the Trail Connection, or Tandem Connection, And there's a bike shop, an ice cream shop, bike rentals, bike storage in there. They bought the old building, and with the two new bridges that were completed there over Georgetown Road and the Morganza Road, that's become an extremely popular section of the trail. And it's great to have that facility there. They're just great people, two young couples.
Is that right?
Took it upon themselves, took the initiative they saw an opportunity there, and we're just thrilled that they're there.
I think once the word gets out, it will be a real attraction for people from outside the area. If they're planning a long distance ride, that would be a stopover place.
I think it will be. I think it should be. Very much so. It's already a popular place just to go, take a break when you're on a ride. It's also become immediately after it was completed one of the more popular trailheads. There is a trailhead right there because it's only about a mile and a half off of I-79. So people can easily access it from a distance and get a very nice ride on the trail. And that's still a pretty quiet, attractive, leafy, scenic section of the trail. If you go on toward the east, toward Peters Township, from there, within about a mile, there is you've probably been on it, Ford, a beautiful section where you cross a high bridge over Chartiers Creek, go through a tunnel, and cross another iron bridge, an old steel truss bridge, over the little railroad line that runs down through Bridgeville and Carnegie down into Washington and Arden.
Yeah, I was there a few weeks ago. That's wonderful down there, too.
That's a beautiful section. From there and ride in the other direction and come out here toward McDonald, where there's very little development. We get a lot of comments out here from people who appreciate coming out this way because it is quiet, except for the occasional heavy equipment operating on the trail. But other than that, I mean, it's a very pretty section.
Again, about 10 years ago, I remember near the Quicksilver Bridge, I talked with a fellow who was coming up, had started riding and rode 24 hours, and well, maybe it was more than 24 hours because he had ridden from Washington, D.C. with only a short stop off to sleep a couple of hours. And he does that, I guess, in the summertime once a month. He rides from Washington, D.C. up to here. And he has a schedule, I guess, that accommodates that. But I think that as it matures, as the trail matures and word gets out about these ancillary restaurants and so forth and rentals, that people will be doing some long distance traveling, and maybe even arrange some sort of a guided vacation via bicycle.
Are beginning to do that, and one of the advantages to the Montour Trail is being part of the Great Allegheny Passage. We're not on the main line, which connects the point at downtown Pittsburgh to Washington, but we are the branch that connects the airport at Pittsburgh to McKeesport and the main branch. And so people can do that now. We've completed that link to the airport, and people can get on there, ride their bike from the airport, right from this airport to Georgetown, and cross the bridge to Washington National and get back on a plane and fly back to wherever they came from.
Yeah, it's exciting with the physical fitness craze, I suppose, but I think it's a significant permanent lifestyle change for people in California, and it's spreading over this way.
I think it is. I read a magazine called Adventure Cycling, and they're talking editorially about seeing a lot more people getting into all kinds of bicycle riding, some of it recreational, but more and more people are commuting to work, and more people are choosing to bicycle on trails like this and do long distance rides. as you say, part of their lifestyle. Build it into their lifestyle.
I saw an AARP flyer that came. The headlines were, "The best thing you can do for longevity and healthy body," and they said, "Get out and walk or ride bicycle." So,
I couldn't agree more.
yeah, oh yeah, it certainly promotes health.
I know that one of the fellows that I worked with several years ago on the McDonald's section here was a strong advocate of that. His wife had some knee issues, and he had diabetes, and it was under control, and she was working as best she could with her knees. But he used to say all the time that his reason for volunteering and being on the trail was because it had done so much for him, for his health, and he wanted to do that and help other people improve and maintain their health as well. We see it all the time. There were two young women with babies today, but we've seen probably 30 or 40 riders my age up and down the trail here.
Right.
Running the whole gamut.
Yeah, and it's kind of a meditative sort of thing. One can get alone and think about things and solve problems that maybe one would not have a chance to do that. And spouses generally give you a little free pass.
Give you a pass on that, and it is, and you don't have to worry about traffic. You can just take in the scenery and the beautiful sunshine, especially on a day like this, and get away from the cares of the everyday world.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the comments. I really appreciate it, and I think people would find that the volunteers are also participants on the trail, and it's dear to your heart for sure.
Everybody who's involved on the trail is passionate about it.
Yeah.
We use it. We appreciate how much other people enjoy it. There's great camaraderie among the people who volunteer with the trail. So it's just wonderful. It's just the greatest. I've met a lot of people who've become good friends on the trail. I've done a lot of other rides in other parts of the country with some of them, and it all stemmed from volunteering with the trail group here.
Thank you very much.
A social connection as well.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the information.
My pleasure.